Hey, Brandon O'Doy, welcome inside our CaneInsider Miami Bureau for today's preview, Miami versus Duke. On this, one of the last home games for the Miami Hurricanes for this football season. Only the game against Boston College remains, and we'll take you inside the preview. You're going into this week, the Miami Hurricanes are 4-4. Coach Al Golden took full responsibility last week for the mediocre play that he described on the football field. He said he didn't have his team prepared. He's made some changes. He's going to turn up the notch of physicality this week against Duke. He talked about possibly protecting his team a little bit too much in preparation weeks, starting from UNC and then going all the way up to last week's Thursday night loss at home against Virginia. It's one of those scenarios where when you have a coach second-guessing himself and sort of looking at some of the things that this team is facing, it's going to be interesting to see how they respond today. Duke's a scrappy team. They come into this matchup 3-5 on the season, 1-3 in the ACC. And let me tell you something. Duke has lost 3 games by a combined 8 points. They have losses to Richmond, Wake Forest, and Virginia Tech. And Coach Al Golden said it best. Listen, this Duke team, coached by David Cutcliffe, they played Virginia Tech much closer, much harder than Miami did. And Coach Golden said, listen, this is not a team to be taken for granted. He hopes his team has their full attention against the Blue Devils coming up for today's game later at Sun Life at 3:09 for the kickoff. We talk about this game. What do you need to know about Duke as a Miami fan or someone looking at this game? Miami comes in the game 4-4. They are 2-3 in the ACC going into this matchup. What they've seen is consistency out of their quarterback position. Ja'Cory Harris throwing for just over 1,500 yards on the season. Hey, he's got 15 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. A lot of those have gone to wideout, the emerging wideout star, Tommy Streeter, better known as Touchdown Tommy. Streeter picked up ACC wide receiver of the week accolades last week, 176 yards receiving, 7 receptions on the day and 2 TDs. He said after the game, listen, I had the opportunity. I just didn't make a play in the end zone against Virginia. He kind of took that a little hard. He was hobbled earlier in the week in practice. There was some concern among the beat writers. Would he play this week? He's going to be fine, and he should be ready to play. When it comes to Duke, Coach Golden said it best. Listen, do not look at the stats when it comes to this team. They do a very efficient job of running the football, and while they're averaging just around 100 yards a game, it's a scenario where they have the short passing game instituted by Sean Renfrey. He's the guy that's thrown for 2,000 yards on the season. He's been very effective throwing 6 touchdowns but 7 interceptions. That's been one of the most difficult parts about him. So when you look at this contest, Miami's going to have to limit turnovers, and they're going to have to maintain the ball control offense that they've done early in the season. They've got to get back to running Lamar Miller, getting the running game going. You talked about some of the inconsistencies on the offensive line. That has to get worked out this week for this team to be able to shine. So look for Miami to run the ball at Duke. Duke's going to try to play them very tough. I'm expecting a close game, but Miami should come out on top. For more, stay logged on to CaneInsider.com. For now, I'm Brandon O'Doy. We'll see you later on at the stadium.